ABC Kinderteach presents The Country Mouse and the City Mouse, illustrated by Lillian Obligado. One day, as Country Mouse was filling his wheelbarrow with a load of ripe grain, and ripe grain is grain like wheat and oats that are ready to pick, and there's his wheelbarrow, he saw a visitor picking her way daintily, which means in a careful way, down the lane. It was his cousin, City Mouse. Country Mouse, City Mouse. Country Mouse was delighted, or very happy, to have company. He ran to a secret hole and brought out nuts and dried corn from his pantry, a place where food is stored. He took some apple cores and bits of dried bread left over from the farmer's lunch. So he says, "Oh, look it, there's my cousin. I'm going to prepare a great feast with what I have," which isn't a lot, but it's certainly good enough for Country Mouse. Then Country Mouse spread out a tasty picnic on a smooth, clean toadstool table, and that's what a toadstool really looks like. But his visitor just picked at her food, looking a bit disappointed. So City Mouse is thinking, this is not much to eat. But Country Mouse is really, really happy. Afterward, while they sat chatting or talking in the cozy parlor, it's a small but comfortable room where you visit with people, City Mouse sighed and shook her head. "You poor thing," she said. "What a sad way to live, with only scraps and dried leftovers to eat. Now, in the city, I make my merry, or happy, way from one delicious feast, or big meal, to the next. Why don't you come to the city with me and see how good life can be?" Country Mouse said, "Oh, no, I am very well off right here." So Country Mouse is saying, I don't really want to go. But City Mouse is saying, "You're missing a lot of good food if you don't come with me." I wonder if he's going to change his mind. But that night, when both cousins were tucked away under cozy scrap calico coverlets, and calico looks like this, and the scrap calico just means it's little pieces of cloth, and coverlets just means it's like a bedspread or a comforter or a quilt. Country Mouse found that he could not sleep for thinking of all he might be missing in his quiet country home. So next day, as City Mouse set off for home, Country Mouse was at her side. So Country Mouse decides to see what City Mouse is talking about with all the food. I wonder if Country Mouse is going to decide to stay in the city because of the food. We'll have to wait and see. At the end of the farm lane, it's a narrow road in the country, Country Mouse looked down the wide road. "It must be a very long walk to the city," he said. "Walk?" City Mouse laughed. "You silly thing. We'll ride, of course." She ran to a truck that was parked beside the road. The driver was eating his lunch in the shade of a big tree. There's the driver. "Follow me," said City Mouse, and they scrambled up, which means quickly crawled up, to the tailgate of the truck, and the tailgate of the truck is right there. What a thrilling, or very exciting, ride that was for Country Mouse, who had never been beyond the farm lane. The truck bounced steadily, without stopping, down the highway. It sped past fields and streams, rounded hills and green woods. Off in the distance, the farmhouses looked tiny and mouse-sized because they were so far away they looked small. But as the cousins neared the city, more and more cars went whizzing by or driving quickly by. Boy, there's a convertible, and there they are. From the tailgate, Country Mouse looked out over a wide bridge. He had never seen so many ships. There's some ships. And planes, and buildings. The air was filled with noise and smoke. Country Mouse coughed and rubbed his eyes. "Don't worry," said City Mouse. "We will soon be in the city." On a street where tall buildings towered above them, which means they were very tall, City Mouse cried, "Here we are!" Down she jumped. Her country cousin closed his eyes and jumped too. So there they are, jumping off. This must be where they live around here. Country Mouse trembled, which means he shook with nervousness, as he followed his cousin, who didn't seem to care about the big pounding or stomping feet on the city sidewalk. At last, they reached the safety of a great house. From the windowsill, Country Mouse could see a most scrumptious or very tasty feast. "It's all for us," said City Mouse proudly. That does look like good food. I wonder if Country Mouse is going to stay with City Mouse. The cousins quickly darted, or ran fast, into the house and up onto the enormous, or very big, table. "This is how we eat in the city," said City Mouse with a wave of her paw. Wow, look at the food. All sorts of food, maybe potatoes, some apples, some dessert, some cheese, something to drink, some fruit, grape. That looks very good. And what a feast it was! Country Mouse nibbled at a rich and crumbly cheese. There it is. He sipped a few bubbly drops right there from a tall, sparkling glass, and sparkling just means shines brightly with flashes of light. He licked a delicious pudding-coated spoon. Then he bit into a candied cherry right there, and there's a spoon with the pudding on it. And that's what candied cherries look like. Suddenly he heard a frightful snarl, showing their teeth and making a mean noise. It was a cat. As the big green cat eyes glared over the tabletop, the two little mice ran for their lives. Are they going to run to the mouse hole or maybe someplace else? City Mouse raced for the safety of her mouse hole and vanished inside. And vanished inside just means she went inside and couldn't be seen. But Country Mouse could not follow her. The cat was waiting outside the hole, waving his tail and twitching, moving back and forth, his whiskers hungrily. He was very hungry. So City Mouse is in there. It ran into there. And Country Mouse is hiding behind this leg. What's he going to do? Is he going to try to get into the hole? For a long time, Country Mouse hid in the shadow of a chair leg. Then, at last, he scampered, ran quickly, away, right past the nose of a gigantic sleeping dog right there. The dog heard the click, click of tiny feet and opened one sleepy eye. "A stranger in the house!" Growl. Boy. Now the dog is after him. What a chase there was then! Country Mouse ran as fast as he could. over chairs, under tables, behind the drapes, and up onto the windowsill. Country Mouse raced along the city sidewalk. He must have jumped out the window. Over the bridge, down the road, past fields and streams. Boy, he looks tired. And straight up the familiar, a place that he knows, farm lane to his house. He said, I had enough of the city. Finally, tired but happy, Country Mouse snuggled down beneath his very own scrap calico coverlet in his own little bed in his country home, and he never left the country again. And the sign says home sweet home. So he must have decided that although there was many good things to eat in the city, it just was too scary for him. So he liked being at home where things were much simpler.